Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Sierra from Sierra T Designs, and today I have these 2-page layout to share with you. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to be working in my junk journal, and I went through the Stamperia Welcome Home collectibles, which is what you see me flipping through here right now. And I was trying to pick images that would let me create a layout that kind of enhanced the background papers. And the other layouts so far, or like designs that I've made so far, I've kind of covered up a lot of the background paper. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it's your journal. You can do whatever you like with it. But I kind of wanted to challenge myself to include more of the background paper in the actual design of what I was trying to do in my junk journal. So it's kind of what I challenged myself to do here. So I knew that I wanted to do a 2-page design because there's this little half an envelope behind this page, and I thought it would be really cool to incorporate both of the pages in one design and have that kind of neat book page that's a bit patinaed, a bit dirty, a bit grungy, and include that background paper, and then have something kind of more feminine, more pretty behind it. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. That's kind of what I was going in with this idea. So I did pick out this window, and you saw me fussy cut it out of the collectible pad there. And then I used my craft knife and just cut the blinds so that they're the windows so they would be able to open. Now I know that there's shutters there, so theoretically, I mean, you could fold those over and create a different look for this window, but I really wanted the window to be able to open, and then you could kind of look through at what was maybe the backyard or a different scene that's going on in the background. So I thought that would just be a really fun idea for this. So to kind of amp up the more vintage aesthetic to this, I did bring in my vintage photo distress oxide ink, and I'm going to go around the edges of both the pages here. You can see that that's kind of like a manila envelope. That's going to be the second part of the page, and it is a pocket. It's half of a pocket. And then I have this other book page that's kind of in the front there. And I thought that it would be really fun to kind of make this look like you're looking through the window to maybe the inside of the house, or you're standing outside and looking through, like you're just looking through the window into a different scene. And I thought that'd be a really fun thing to kind of recreate here with this set of the 2 pages. So I did bring in a stencil as well. This is a mini brick stencil by the Crafters Workshop. And I just went over different areas with my vintage photo because I'm not going to bring in any extra colors. And I also brought in my opaque matte texture paste. I'm pretty sure it's the opaque one. Yeah, opaque matte texture paste. And my little spatula there, I forget the actual name. I call it a spatula. I don't think that's its actual name, and then I'm just going to put that in a few different areas. I intentionally don't put it near the center because I know that I'm going to cut that out and cover it with my window. So I'm kind of trying to pick 3 different areas that are, around where I want to put my window, but are not actually going to touch the window. And I also didn't clean off the stencil so that some of that vintage photo would get into the texture paste and just kind of give it a cool, grungy vintage feel. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. And then I cut out different elements from the paper pad again, or the collectibles pad, just because everything is going to go really beautifully together. And you saw me cut out that purple butterfly there. I'm not going to end up using that. So I'm going to end up putting that just back into the pad so I can use it another day. But I thought I would use it, and then I chose to go with a little bird instead. So I cut out several different elements, and then I'm going to fussy cut them so that I can bring them into the second page. I pretty much needed to set the first page aside so that opaque medium could dry, but we're going to create the layout of the second page. And it wouldn't make sense for you to be looking outside of the window into like a garden area, but that is kind of what I ended up doing. And since it's my junk journal, it doesn't have to make sense, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So here I'm just going to go around where I want the window to be because I do need to cut it out. So I just brought in a pencil and I traced around the inside of the window, and then I'm going to bring in a cutting mat and my craft knife again, and I'm just going to cut just the outside of that kind of rectangle shape so that I can make sure that my window, there's no page poking out in the inside of my window because I want you to be able to look through. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit here. And I just used my craft knife for this. You could absolutely use scissors. I just found the craft knife to be a bit easier, but we'll use whatever works for you. And then I am going to adhere my window down. My texture paste at this point is completely dry, so there's no concern with it kind of smudging around the other page. And I have left the left-hand page blank at this moment. I have plans to journal on it. I haven't decided what I wanted to journal yet, so I haven't added to it. But I do like to journal on the left-hand side of the pages and then create layouts or designs on the right-hand side, because that's kind of what I've decided to do in this journal, and I thought it would be kind of fun. And I did bring back in my domed foam here and just blended on some more of that vintage photo. I didn't put more ink on. I'm just using the ink that I already had on the foam and just kind of using that to lightly add some the vintage photo around the border of all of my elements. And like I said, I'm not going to use that butterfly. Now, part of me kind of wishes I had cut out the longer these are grapes, I guess, the longer grapes, but I didn't. So I kind of have this short grape, and I do wish I had cut out, because there's the second one on that page as well. It's quite a bit longer, and I was kind of like, oh, I'll end it here, and then I'll do some interesting texture beside it. And I do end up doing that later, but that's only because I felt like something was missing. Excuse me. And luckily, these images are double-sided. So here you can see that I had to flip the chair because I wanted the table to be in the window. So I flipped my chair around so that I could put it now facing the opposite direction as I had originally intended it to be. And then I'm just going to adhere those elements down together. And then this is where I stumbled a little bit on this, honestly. I should have done the ground first, but I didn't, as you can see, because my images are floating at this point and I want them to be grounded. So I did choose to kind of do these two little grassy mounds, and I used 4 different colors of Copic marker. I have G28, G17, G16, and YG95. And the YG was just to bring in a little bit of the yellowy color that's up in the grapes on the top. And then I just flicked the 4 different colors of green after I kind of created the shape that I wanted to mimic grass. Honestly, I do wish that I had done the bottom here before I adhered everything, but I don't think that it looks horrible. Hopefully it doesn't look like it wasn't intended. I just kind of stumbled a little bit through this design, and this is one of those things where I was like, you should have put the what everything's going to sit on before you add everything. But I think that it turned out okay, even regardless, with the fact that I kind of stumbled a little bit here. And I think the grass looks cute. And I like that it kind of pulls some of the green down from the grapes at the top as well. So it kind of adds that a little bit of extra interest at the bottom. And then I did want to embellish a little bit. So I brought in a little bird. That's what's going to sit on the top of the window here. I didn't want to do too much here because I really want you to be able to see that book page. So I want to include it, and I want it to be a part of my journal and have a purpose. But at the same time, I don't want it to cover up all of that really cool book and the writing and whatnot. So I did something pretty simple on the first page there. And then on the second page, or the envelope here, I kind of wanted to go a little more into like a design, right? So I was kind of trying to create something a bit simple and then something a bit more intricate, and then have them go together. So it's kind of my challenge to myself for this layout. And I think that it turned out really cute. I did add these little gems. They're not gems, they're pearls, sorry. They're little matte gold metallic pearls, just because I wanted just a touch of gold, and it was just kind of like holding up this sign, and I thought that looked really cute. And then I had to add some splashes just for a little added texture. So I brought in my perfect pearls that I keep mixed up in a mixed bottle, a mini mister bottle, and I leave that on my desk, and I just used that and kind of splashed it around the 2 pages. And then I'm also going to bring in some white splashes as well, and this is just the Picket Fence Distress paint and a acrylic block, and I just drip a little bit on there. I usually add a little bit of water kind of to add a little bit extra of fluidity so that it'll move a little easier, but you don't really need to. The Picket Fence paint is pretty fluid on its own. This is just because I wanted a little extra movement. And then I had to let that dry a little bit before I came back in to do the second page, because I didn't want it to just smear all over the background. I wanted it to be flecks of color, right? So I did kind of, and I was like not worried at all if flicks got on different pages. Like I thought that would just be kind of neat. Like you can see that it's on that brown paper bag a little bit, but I'm not really concerned about it. I think it'll turn out really pretty later. And then this, I'm going to add a little bit of the white rub-ons from it's from another collection by Vicky Papineau. I don't remember which collection it's from. Everything I use is always linked and listed down below if you're ever curious. But this is where I just wanted a little more texture in the background. And had I been thinking, I think that I would have done a bit of a blue sky up at the top, and then that green grass would be balanced a little bit better. But again, like this layout just, it challenged me a little bit, and it was really interesting to make. And I think that I did okay with it. You guys will have to let me know what you think, if you enjoyed how this kind of came together and what you think of it. But I think that it came together pretty well. And here you can just see that I'm adding those white rub-ons onto the grass, and I'll add a little bit across the seat of the chair as well, just to add some interest and texture into the design. And it's super subtle, but I really wanted something that just added interest without kind of stealing the show. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. And I did put it in 3 different areas, just again, because I like 3s and because that just works for me and it's kind of my preferred. So I would have ink blended a little bit in the top and kind of added some more interest there, but this is how it came out, and I think that it's really pretty. There's just a few things I would have changed if I had I couldn't plan this. It kind of was like a spur of the moment design that I thought would be really fun to create. So I'm going to show you a close-up of both the pages here so you can kind of check them out close up, and you'll see that white texture of the rub-on kind of at the top there. It's harder to see up there, but it is there, and it does add just a really subtle, pretty texture. So I love how this came together, but I'd really like to know what you guys think. If this 2-page kind of layout, leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.